Once upon a time in a land not far, there was a car race called Jackocar. His little series thought it would be grand, but everything went wrong, no one took a stand. The drivers were slow, the cars were bad, the fans in the stands were mostly mad. The tracks were a mess, it was such a shame. Everybody knew this was a losing game. Oh, Jackocar, yeah, what a disgrace. A laughing stock in the auto race, but Garrett said, hey, give me 2 years, I'll turn this around, wipe away your tears. Garrett had a plan, oh yes he did. He worked at night, he never hid. Got the best driver's cars new to perfection. Suddenly Jackocar was headed in the right direction. The pits were slick, the engines roared, fans came back, they weren't bored. Garrett turned the series into a star. Now everyone wants to be a part of Jackocar. From zero to hero, what a ride. Garrett's magic couldn't be denied. But now the clock is ticking, can they win? One chance to let the fun begin. So here's to Garrett, the man of the hour. Turn Jackocar, PA from sour to power. Let's raise a cheer for one last race. Go win it all, end with grace.
must go to Dutch Milikia. There you will learn of friends and family pricing and the same sales associate that assisted me.
Ben! But I need a low payment!
For a limited time, Luke, get a 2017 Sorrento starting at just $259 a month. I have to go now. I have a beard grooming appointment. Bye-bye.
Ben!
ISTC is the best place to be this summer. You get to do so many fun activities. You get to meet so many new people from around the world.
ISTC is looking for people that are passionate about self-growth and improvement. They are hardworking and adventurous, but most of all, have a love for working with kids and having an amazing time.
I think the best thing about ICC, honestly, is the community. It's been really just wonderful to just be welcomed with open arms and feel like I'm a part of the community already.
It really was a no-brainer for me, and it was the best decision that I have made.
Anyone would just love this place because you get so many opportunities here that I just wouldn't have back in my home country. I get to see new places, live a different way of life, and it's just amazing.
Working at ISCC, I've had the best time so far, and I cannot wait to come back next year to work again next summer.
Truly is the best place in the world to work, and I wouldn't wish to work anywhere else.
The staff has the most beautiful, excited, positive energy, and that is the stuff that I would remember year after year.
We're based in the Pocono Mountains. We have roughly around 325 kids that walk through our doors each week. They arrive on the Sunday and they leave on the Friday or the Saturday, but they do have the option to do multiple weeks if they wish. We hire all sports coaches, counsellors, waterfront staff, ropes course staff, adventure staff. You name it, there's a job position for you.
ICC has been the most meaningful experience of my whole entire life. I would really love to give the future campers coming in the same experience that I had when I was a camper here that made me love coming every single summer.
They may call it ISTC, but the memories you make here are IST free. As in, you know, you can't put a price on them. Am I right, Alon?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't write that.
Can't write that.
Nor did he.
Well, hello, good evening, and welcome back to Jackocar. This is the Kia series, the second tier, and most definitely the worst one in Jackocar. Here every Tuesday through until December. My name is Gareth Hall, joined by Pete Knighton this evening, and we are heading to our first race in the playoffs. So we are well and truly on our way to the Championship 5 at the Speedway in around about a month and a half's time. So looking forward to that. We've got cars heading out to the track on very, very shortly. But good evening to Peter, who's feeling a bit poorly. Like myself, we're both kind of getting over a little bit of man cold. Unfortunately, we really need to stop kissing each other, Pete.
Yeah, we really do. It's not really good for either of our healths, especially for yourself. You don't want to be doing that when you've got a child on the way. But yeah, good to be back. And as you mentioned, the playoffs is here. 6 races to decide who will be our Championship 5. It's going to be a good end to the final season in the Kia series. Plenty of drivers in the ranks to be champion. Everyone still has a chance to be champion. That's the unique side of Jackocar. We've had 10 rounds already and everyone is still viable to win this championship.
They are indeed, and they will be here at Monza tonight, a 5.7 kilometre, that's 3.6 miles, 27 laps is 50% tonight. There are no jokers, everyone on a two-stop. Season 7 pole was taken in intermediate conditions for the Championship 5 last season. That was Florian Meyer, ex-Letmer Funky, you'll see in P8. The winner, however, was Sullivan Lewis, who went on to win his first ever championship here in Jackocar. And the fastest lap was a 1:27.87 set by Michael Okeke. But who will set pole tonight? We'll find out, because Ben Harrett's about to start his lap, the man leading the way in the standings. And we'll bring them up after qualifying. You can see that there was playoffs and chase contention from all the point sisters tonight. But the man leading the way through the Rettifidio for the first time on a quali lap tonight, leading what is the majority of the laps so far this season, leading the championship, leading the way at the front. Who would have thought? The man that is doing very well in the Cup Series on a Thursday evening, that he's managed to translate it over to terrible tier on a Tuesday evening. But Lesmo 1 will become Lesmo 2, and we'll see how Ben is committed through the exit. He does manage to take a little bit of exit curve, gets a bit of wiggle on throttle, now blasts it underneath the banking, which is that bridge that you see just above you. Absolutely insane how steep it is. In through the famous Ascari chicane. How committed on the throttle do you stay? You can see he's slightly loose on exit, and he's going to get a lovely tow here by accident, I think, as he just about manages to get a fraction of a tow from Dan Price coming up into the Parabolica. And Dan Price is going to do exactly what he needs to do, which is stay in the tow of Ben to start his lap off. But Ben Harrett kicks us off and starts with a 1:20.505.
I don't think that was Dan Price, that was Yuri.
No, it was Yuri. It was Yuri, sorry.
Dan is now coming through the Lesmos, or a very explicit word that people like to call that section of corners. I'm not going to repeat it, but you can do it yourself. But down the DRS straight towards Ascari chicane. Target time of 1:20.5. A man who's been on pole many times this season, Ben Harrett, and probably looking to steal another one here tonight. Can Dan, who's second in the playoffs at the moment, looks pretty comfortable. He's not really second actually in the playoffs. He's got 12 points from the playoffs from the regular season accumulated. But the qualifying order is based on regular season points totaled up, and that's a 1:21.1, nearly 7/10 off the pace. But as we know from Ben Harrett, he is the man to beat in qualifying. Yeah, he does tend to be around, I think he's kind of averaging around 0.6 of a second faster than the majority of these scrubs, which shouldn't be the case, because you've got Yuri and Sullivan, who are both Cup Series drivers, who have both won multiple races and both won championships. Yellow flag out in Sector 2 for a slow, I believe Ben Harrett, probably out of fuel, as Yuri makes his way around the Parabolica to complete his lap, and this looks good. It's going to the top. It is. It's a 20.0, so half a second faster than Ben Harrett, which I'm sure he will be very happy about. Maybe a slipperier setup for the Belgian, as he looks to take, I think, what would be his first pole this season. I don't think we've seen Yuri on pole this season. I'm sure he'll correct me. But MK Bourne up next, who is what holds 2 race victories, 2 or 3, 2. I think it's 2 victories this season. Does Mike Kelterborn on his return was to a full-time seat in the Kia series, running this pink and black livery that we've seen him run all season up to the Parabolica. Carries a lot of speed in, keeps it in 5th gear. Some people do shift down to 4th and then quickly flick up to 5th on exit. But up to the line for Mike, what's it going to be? It's a 1:21. 007, so that puts him currently into P3. Nearly a second off pole position as well, but I think he'll be happy with that lap time at this stage. As we know, it's technically the faster drivers go out first, the slower drivers come out towards the end of qualifying, but it gives us a mixed up grid. Florian next, our Kota race winner, how he got himself through to the playoffs. He currently sits 4th in the playoffs, 19 playoff points accumulated throughout the regular season, 13 points up on the elimination zone. After 2 races, there are 2 drivers eliminated until we get to the final 4 for the Championship 5. So Florian, up to the parabolica. Late on the brakes, you want to turn it in as early as possible, open the steering up, and then hug the inside to the line. 120.0 to beat. It's going to be in the 120s, 120.6. A tenth off Ben Howard. He sits himself on the second row.
Yeah, not a bad time there from Florian. Of course, the man that took pole position last time we were here, which wasn't too long ago, just a few months ago. Harry Collier, another man in the playoffs, of course, took his first ever race win this season, and is fighting at the front of Jackocar as well, with Portsmouth aiming to take another team to the Club World Cup, which will be taking place in probably March 2025, but it is a 20.949 for Harry, so puts him provisionally onto the second row. But of course, plenty more cars out on circuit, one of them being Daniel Quinn, who is running a McLaren Chrome style livery with the orange. I don't like the matte with the chrome. I would have preferred that to be a bit shinier, but
probably a satin or a gloss.
Yeah, something from this dreadful car designer. But what is Quinn going to do? Of course, Quinn is not really had some great times here at Monza. Of course, we've seen him as he does a 120.986. We've seen him reverse across the track directly in front of Yuri, taking him out of the race, and also out of the next race because he's got a race ban for it, I believe. Jacko up next for you, Pete.
Yeah, Jacko through the Lesbos, qualified through to the playoffs without getting a single race win. He did it on points and has only managed to accumulate 6 playoff points throughout the regular season. He currently sits level with Matt Shepherd, who is in the elimination zone at the moment. That is decided based on your best finish. And I think Jacko got himself a podium in Spa on his Joker, so it's probably why he is higher up in the order. To the parabolica for Jacko. He's not the best qualifier we've seen so far. He doesn't really have the pace in qualifying. We'll see what he can do here in Monza. Up to the line then. Target time in the 120s. It's a decent lap time. It's going to be in the 120s, and it's faster than Ben Harry. He's on the front row.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that one. So maybe Ben running slightly more downforce in qualifying, or maybe looking at a long stint in the race. Of course, everyone doing a 2-stop tonight. Oh, big snap there for Shep coming out of Ascari. Just about manages to catch the back end. That was almost absolute disaster for Shep, who needs as many points as he can get, and definitely with some brown pants to finish the lap, but he will complete it. I'm sure he'll be feeling slightly aggrieved. It's not going to be the worst end. It's still a 22.7, so not miles off, but yeah, huge snap for Shep. And he finds himself currently slowest of all runners, with Jamie Numbers and Bazza on their laps. Bazza, of course, in the what is the Ferrari style livery with is that a gold or is it a yellow? It looks like it. Is it meant to be the? I'm trying to remember. I'm not really a Ferrari fan, so I don't really pay attention to what years with all their colour schemes, but. A lot of white on this supposed Ferrari here. It's the home of the Tifosi, which genuinely is one of the greatest tracks. Well, only the world's 3rd ever purpose-built racetrack, after Brooklands and Silverstone, and one that I've been to. About half an hour north of Milan. Fantastic circuit, fantastic fans, and well worth a visit if you are ever inclined to going to an international Grand Prix. Of course, if you're an international or if you're a UK resident. If you're not, just head down to Italy. But Baz up to the line. It looks like it's going to be a semi-decent lap. 21.5 for him. Puts him P9 and will be in the mix of the runners in the middle of the order.
Yeah, not really the best lap from Baz. Missed a couple of apexes, especially at turn 2. But Jamie, very quick behind Bazza, whether they got their timings right. 121.0. Slots himself between Mike and Daniel Price. For P8 at the moment. He is our first driver on the track who is fighting in the chase.
Is Michael Okeke now heading out for his lap. He's into the De La Roja chicane, the second variante, as he comes in through Lesmo 1, that leads into Lesmo 2 in the forest section, and now makes his way down underneath the banking. Fans on either side It's a lovely part of the circuit, very picturesque, and you do get a chance to walk around it as he flicks it in through Ascari and invalidates with not only one but two exits out of Ascari that looked like as though the back end did not want to be pointing in the same direction as the front. So Michael, who did take the fastest lap of the race last time we were here for the Championship 5, unfortunately will be starting towards the back of this one. Another driver who is on their lap is someone that we all know very well. It's last season champion. Last time we were here, he finished on the top step. It's Sullivan Lewis.
Yeah, kind of sandbagged his way into the chase, this driver. You wouldn't think it being the reigning champion, going down into the chase and fight his way through. But let's see what you can do. This is where the part of the season really counts now. Final 6 races before the Championship 5. Target time 1:20.0 to beat. It might be in the 19s, but it's going to be close. 1:20.2 puts himself in between Yuri and Jacko. He's on the front row.
Yeah, it's currently a speed 1-2-3 at the moment as we see Jake Warrior on his lap as well, heading his way down after the second Lesmo towards Ascari. And how much commitment is Jake going to take in? Of course, pussied out of racing in Las Vegas and was duly commented on for it. Said he'd rather watch the Great British Bake Off. So we'll let you make up your own mind about that, as he looks as though he's gone for that terrible McLaren livery, the black sort of silver and red they had in the early phases of the Honda era. We'll see if it drives as slowly as he comes up to the line. Former race winner in the Kia Series, 1:21.281 for Jake, puts him P11 and will be there we go, in the middle of the order.
GP2 engine, where he'll probably complain about putting a lap time like that. Jess next, running towards the Sky Cheyenne. Classic livery for herself, purple and yellow. Didn't manage to make it through the playoffs this time. We'll be fighting in the chase. Accumulated 1 playoff point in the regular season. I believe that was for a lap led, which is what you get if you lead a lap. You lead the stage. You get fastest lap, pole position. You get those bonus points added to your tally for the playoffs. But they're just going to be regular points now as we're into the playoffs. Jess to the line. Decent lap time, a 1:21.0. She's inside the top 10 and only 0.100 of a second off Jamie Griffiths. Yeah, one of 3 drivers, Scott and Dustin, who have yet to accumulate a playoff point this season so far. And then we get down to the pecking order, the last couple of drivers at the bottom of the chase. Especially one, you'll probably rinse the crap out of him when he's on his lap. But Scott, as I said, invalidated. He'll be starting even further at the back. No surprise there. He's probably used to it by now. But Robin Border through the Curva Grande, the German, will be looking to put himself towards the front. It does seem to have a decent bit of pace, but last time out in Vegas, he couldn't seem to keep it out of the wall. So hopefully he can do that here. There's a bit of gravel about to help you keep it out of the wall, but we'll see what he can do. Through the second Lesbo, onto the second DRS straight. Run towards the Ascari chicane. It's really a risk-reward corner, the Ascari. You've got to try and take as much apex as you can at such high speed. Try and risk touching the AstroTurf on the inside of the right-hander before you hit a really dodgy curb on the exit of the Ascari chicane. Run towards the Parabolica. Looking like a decent lap time so far. Got to get it right through here. Doesn't want to be running too wide. And try and hug the inside. The shortest run up to the line. Could be a decent lap time here. Not challenging for pole position, but in the 120s. Is on the second row ahead of Jacko.
Yeah, be happy with that. So 1 man to go. And let's give you a bit of an audio show.
Wij zijn Feyenoord, het grote Feyenoord. Uit Rotterdam-Zuid. Yeah! Kom op dan! Laat je horen! Wij zijn Feyenoord, het grote Feyenoord. Het legioen komt naar Rotterdam. We zijn voor niemand bang en komen overal. Laat je horen, onze club uit Rotterdam. Wij zijn Feyenoord, het grote Feyenoord. Het legioen komt naar Rotterdam. We zijn voor...
Yeah, I think that's the lowest start that Ben Harrett's got so far this season. Maybe he's put all his eggs in one basket for the regular season, but he doesn't really need to worry about this race. More of a possession for him. He's already advanced to the round of 8 with the amount of playoff points and wins he accumulated in the regular season. So I think this is just a possession for him. Maybe a chance to knock some of the drivers that would be fighting for those top 4 positions in the playoffs. Maybe snatch away some bonus points away from drivers staying out long, taking those stage points, leading the most laps, which he likes to do himself. But we'll see what brings with this Italian Grand Prix. As we didn't mention Michel's lap, he's only P10, 25, I wish it was a 25, 21.025. Inside the top 10, slots himself between Mike and Jamie. Pretty close grid outside of the top 5. I'll clip it. Don't you worry. It's the formation lap, Gareth. It's the formation lap. It's bad. We didn't even make it off the line, Gareth. Didn't even make it to turn 1. That's the worst part. Yeah. I wasn't really watching. I didn't really expect carnage before turn 1. So, yeah, I believe Leslie might not have gotten off the line. Maybe his dodgy knee decided to get involved. Or his lack of talent. And just decided, oh, you know what, I'm not going to be here for the start. Let the chaos unfold. He's already out one more timing already. 19 drivers left. I believe we've got a full course caution, so it's not a VSC, so it's another glitch. We've had an update to the game, and there's still glitches that I believe should be easily fixable. But obviously they don't care enough. 2 drivers starting on the hards, everyone else is on medium tyres. Jake, which is probably poor for him because he's got to change his front wing on the hards, and Harry Collier on the hards as well. I don't think anyone else picked up damage, although there were collisions further behind, so I'm just going to have a little look at Bazza, Michael and Dustin. I don't seem to have any damage. Oh, Michael's got left end plate damage, and there are some early pit stops. Probably the drivers who have got this 10-second time penalty, it would be suitable for them to get rid of it right now.
Yes, as hopefully that's worked, Jake. I've just reset my microphone. Apparently my microphone's completely well, who knows? As I was fiddling around with OBS, so that's probably my fault. I probably put myself on mute and then didn't unmute myself for the start of the race. But yeah, this is a safety car. Michael's serving a 10-second time penalty and getting a new front wing. At the moment, it's been absolute chaos from the start. If you were listening along or watching along, you saw that Matt Lester didn't get off the line, it seems, punted by Jake. That's then caused an accordion effect. We had a VSC that's turned into a safety car on lap 2. Another first lap crash. Of course, we had one here with myself.
Oh,
in
there's
the Cup
crashing
Series.
on the safety car.
Oh, wonderful. There's front wings everywhere.
I believe... I think
His...
it was Mike? There was front wing flying. Someone was in the wall, and I'm not 100% sure who it was. It might be Jamie Numbers. I think he's missing a bit of front wing.
We did, yes. I mean, if you were all obviously not hearing me, but Jamie Numbers spinning on the formation lap, Yuri spinning on the formation lap. We had 7 cars disqualified on the formation lap. It is Jamie Numbers that's missing an end plate, so he at least can pit to serve it, but I'm sure he'll wait and take a mandatory. But having started on the mediums, that's probably not what the Welshman will be looking to do, to go on early. As Michael's gone on to the intermediates to try and protect his tyres, because he knows he's going to be able to stop at the end of lap 3. So Michael is thinking long term about his tyre choices. As whilst you are watching, and I didn't get a chance to say it at the well, I did say it at the start, but obviously none of you could hear me because I put myself on mute and unmuted for when I was coughing. I would like everyone that is watching along to like the video at any point, if you're watching live or if you're watching in post, because I want to see how many people actually listen to what we say. So if you are watching along, both live and after the race, like the video. It's a social experiment to see what people actually do, because I know a lot of people do watch them. Well, not as much anymore. We used to get really good views, but since the game died, we don't get as many views. But it will be interesting to see how many of you actually do so. As Scott leaves the session, he's down in 15th position, so hopefully he can get back in. If he needs an invite, do let me know, Scott. As Leslie says, controller veered me into Jake. That's a strange way of saying talent. As Matt Lester ending the race before he'd even met the start line. As safety car is still out, we've got 2 more cars waiting around the back end of the circuit because Fozzie's at Curva Grande. We've got Bazza and OKK that have both made another stop as well. So 2 stops already for Bazza and for Michael. And that is even before the mandatory window has opened. So they can stop at the end of this lap for a mandatory. However, I don't think those guys will be doing so this time around, because hopefully it's all been cleared, and once they clear or catch up to the back of the safety car, we should get going for an actual race so far here around Monza.
Yeah, I think Bazza picked up a second 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, unless he accumulated 2 for collisions. So Scott finally rejoins the lobby. I was a bit curious why Michael decided to pit on those inters, because he decided to box the following lap, which is still a non-mandatory, onto a set of mediums anyway. So maybe he just didn't want the safety car to come in and be stuck on inters, because that'd be a little bit cruel. As they're overtaking... Oh, Dan's coming into the pit. He'll be making his first mandatory stop. Starting on the mediums, that's a bit early, I'd say. Surely you'd want to stay out, unless he's got some damage he needs to change and fix with the front wing. There is no front wing change. Onto the hard tyres. He's going to take this nice and long. He's got to get to now the end of lap 21 before he can make his second mandatory stop. Stages, I believe, lap 8 and lap 20. And you have to do 1 green flag lap, or 1 lap after the start of the second stage before you can do your second mandatory. That will knock Dan to the back. Scott's in the box as well. He's made his first mandatory. He's onto a fresh set of hards and will be doing the same.
Yeah, and that's an interesting call there from Dan Price, because you've got to think that he's burned a safety car stop there as well. So if a safety car does come out later on in the race, he won't be able to pit under. Of course, these guys, under a rule that is quite hard to explain unless you're part of the Jackocar community, you're only allowed to stop. You have to make 2 mandatory stops. However, previously you weren't allowed to make any under the safety car. The rules brought in you were allowed to make 1 stop under the safety car. So he's now burned that on what was lap 3 to lap 4. He's now caught the back end, and so is Scott. They're on hards. They're going to look to go to the end as Rageman also runs straight into the back of Sullivan, who checked up a little bit there. Yuri now letting the safety car I sounded like one of the stupid Northerners I have to play with in Jackocar. As is now letting the safety car and Burt Mylander disappear up the road, which means that Jury, who has led the race since the start, however, none of it has been under green flag, because by the time he got to the rest of the video, the yellows had already come out. So we'll see, with a rolling start, if these guys can actually properly race here around Monza. But it's team speed 1 and 2. Will they work together? Because it's a good restart from Yuri. It's not a good one from Sullivan. He's going to be under threat from Robin behind immediately. As Sully pulls to the middle of the track, he's going to make Robin work to one side or the other. And you can see, not even that. That's Ben Harrett scything down the inside of Robin and gets the position up. As Robin comes back at him, bangs right into the side pod. That might even be damaged and loses control of the car and finds himself at the back of the order and almost gets wiped out by Shep on recovery there. So, we've got more front wing disappearing. Who is that from? I think that might be from... Is that from Dan Price? There was definitely an end plate. No, it's not. There was definitely an end plate that went flying down towards the back of the field.
Yeah. Come on, guys. We're only on lap 4 and you already caused chaos. What's it going to be like where by the time we get to lap 26, 27... Jamie managing to get by Jacko up to P7, even with that wing damage. I'd probably expect Jamie to stay out because you don't really need downforce. If you're running one wing on the front, it don't really matter if you get any damage anyway. And Jamie will probably stay out as long as possible to stretch for a second set of tyres that will take him to the second stage. Yeah, Jacko falling down the order from that start. He was near the front. There's Matt Shepherd side by side with Harry Collier into the parabolica. He has the inside, race a little bit later. Harry runs a little bit wide and might lose position to Jess behind, but all single file as they run down towards turn 1. And we managed to make it with no safety cars. We go 3 wide, 4th place.
Yeah, as Florian thought about it, but actually backed out of the throttle, and what it has done is cost him, because Jamie Nubbers now right on his gearbox. So Jamie's made some moves forward, so has Michel, moving up from 10th now into 4th place. So it's been a good restart from the spare driver that just bothers to turn up as and when he wants to. As they make their way through the De La Roja chicane, and that was wide there from from Florian, and that's going to allow Jamie down the inside, and he does. So the Welshman up the inside of the German, and in fact he lets him back through, going through the Lesmo. So holding fire for now to get some DRS. I'm sure that was all tactical for Jamie, who's now going to go down the inside. Will squeeze Florian out to the exit. Florian wisely backs out of the throttle to not go side by side and do what Kieran would probably do and say we can go side by side through every corner, and then complain when he gets spun out. As we've now got Ben Harrett and Sullivan side by side. Sully goes straight into the side of Ben Harrett's side pods, are getting an absolute hammering from both sides at the moment, and I think Ben's going to get DRS off that as well. Has he? No. Oh yes he has. So Ben does get DRS. Sullivan will also have DRS. So these guys all fighting away for the lead. Behind, that's Michel and Florian and Quinn. As I think Quinn getting tagged up a little bit with Michel. And Michel gets a good run out the exit of the Retifidio, but can't quite get a move done just yet. As Sullivan back on, push to pass. He's going down the inside through Curva Grande on Ben Harrett and is back up into P2.
He is indeed, but further behind with this battle between Jamie and Florian, they're falling out of DRS. And with this nature of circuit, if you're not in DRS, you're just going to lose time. But luckily, I think Florian's got the pace with the battling up ahead, managing to claw it back in, just sneaking back in that 1 second window. And the train goes all the way down to the top 10 with Robin, who was near the front for the start of this race. He's down in P11, so he's lost a lot of time. He might have some damage because he's just losing a heap more time further behind, and is probably going to lose positions left, right and centre to the drivers at the tail of the field. But Ben Harrett is not going to give this up. He's going to be sensible. They're both going to get DRS no matter who leads into the parabolica, because they're so close to Yuri that both of them are going to get DRS. Slipstream, and Yuri might get his trousers pulled down by the pair of them, but Yuri sensibly has got plenty of battery to defend.
Yeah, I think Sully might lose out here. Sorry, frog in my throat. As you can see, still battling side by side. As I need to That's Sully going very, very deep, and he's going to have to back out, let Yuri and Ben Harrett through there. But he does take a penalty for it. So Sullivan thought about going side by side, but you can see just Adhesion was not on his side. He runs long. That brings Michel back up into a fourth place that is challenging now up with the leaders.
And as you can hear, Gareth's voice is aging with every word he speaks. But yeah, sensible from Sully. He realised he was going to outbrake himself into turn one, taking the shorter run to the apex. Didn't want to run into Yuri like he probably has done previous races before. But is punished by carrying too much speed, cutting the corners and getting a 3-second time penalty on his timing sheet. And that won't be removed even if he gives the positions back. We don't remove 3-second time penalties here. This is Jackocar. If you make a mistake, you must be punished for it. As Scott gets himself a 3-second time penalty, he's at the back. We've already had a pit stop from Danny Quinn. He's gone into the hards. Oh, really out of shape there from Sully through the parabolica. And I feel like it's time for a pit stop for him.
Yeah, he's not even on a soft, so I don't know why he's complaining about tyre wear. But that releases the guys up front to battle away, and by doing that, it releases Ben Harrett to attack Yuri and now take the lead on lap 9. So Ben Harrett, who started in P5, now up to the lead of the race by the 9th lap as Jess and Dan Price swap places. In fact, there's places fighting away all over. There's been chaos, that's why, because several cars are either not accelerating or letting each other go at the moment. So there's clearly been an absolute disaster into turn 1 that we've just about missed. Yuri's retaken Ben Harrett for the lead. Oh, we don't mind about missing that because these two, in theory, should just stay with each other. In fact, Yuri pushes Ben Harrett off the track at the exit of Lesmo 2 because he was so much faster into it. Now, what does he do here with DRS? Does he go down the inside? They're trading a little bit of rubber side to side as Yuri cuts the corner. That'll be a warning. Ben Harrett gives him a little bit of a kiss. Look at the checking up that everyone else is having to do behind. They're now absolutely in love with each other. Ben Harrett is deep inside Yuri Hasselager and he is wiggling it around. He's now got Michel Goris going around the outside of him, and what is happening here? It is absolute chaos, and there we go. That was always going to happen.
Yeah, indeed. 6 to 8 cars. Oh, Jamie number 4 is now sat on the middle of the racing line. Oh my goodness, he nearly took out Michael reversing there as Michael tried to avoid him to the right hand side. He has recovered. He's going to go in the pits. Nearly takes out, I believe, Jake, who dived into the pit lane. Absolute chaos. Jake gets a 10-second time penalty for spinning in the pit lane. He probably didn't manage to go on the brakes early enough because he probably shit himself going into the pit lane there. Absolute chaos on this. Now it's top 4 separated by 3 seconds. Ben decides to stay out. Yuri boxed. Michel boxed. Mike. Jake onto his hard tyres that he started the race on, and Jamie for a fresh front win.
As Pete mutes himself so he can take a drink as well, as we're both suffering with our voices this evening, as you've probably heard, as Shep goes wide at the exit of Lesmo 2, as Ben Harrett now leading by 1.19 seconds. It was 2.2. As you saw, there was a whole heap of cars all tangling around with each other. I think Ben got away with the majority of anything happening, but it has brought Jacko somewhat back into the party. We'll see if the guys that have done the one-lap undercut, if that is going to work behind. That's a car going way wide at the exit of the Ascari chicane. That might have been Baz, who's just been overtaken by Jess and then loses a position to Dustin. But in comes Ben Harrett and also comes Florian. So Jacko leads a lap. He wants the extra points. Michael Okeke, who does only have half a front wing. He's missing an end plate. He was the driver earlier on that I was saying had worse for a Tygo. And he's also ignored the first corner. Don't come back on that way. You should have extended. But Harry Collier, Dan Price, now battling with him. What that has done, extend the gap out to 5.1 seconds now for Jacko. But what's the gap with Ben Harrett coming out in front of Yuri? It's 1.1 seconds. My thing's not letting me scroll. But you can see Ben Harrett holding the lead by a second. In fact, the gaps now have almost stretched outside of DRS. So it might cool itself down for a few laps.
Yeah, Danny Quinn managing to get the undercut. Not only on Sully, Michel, but everyone who was ahead of him with that earlier lap, 3 laps ago, he boxed onto his hard tyres. But he's got Sullivan right behind him. His undercut work to get ahead and stay ahead of Michelle and Ben. These two now are going to be battling with Yuri, just sneaking himself into that 1 second window to snatch DRS. And he's going to need that if he wants to stay with them. Ben Howard then battling with Michelle, thinking about a move down the inside into the Sky of Shane. Thinks better of it. Sensible thinking there from Ben, because there's no point overtaking him there, because you're just going to get re-overtaken on the run down towards turn 1. But with that benefit of slipstream and straight line speed, I don't think you're going to be attacked by Yuri, and you're going to get this position nice and easy, because you're 2 seconds behind are essentially net race leaders. Pit stops for Michael will be a change of front wing. Pit stop for Dustin. He was on soft tyres, so no surprise there. And Jacko continues to stay out in the lead, 7.2 seconds ahead of Harry.
As you're not getting... Oh, that is risky, getting tagged up by Quinn going on the exit of the rest of video and loses the place there. So Sullivan will not be happy, because he's going to lose both his lead and also the position to Ben Harrett. So Ben Harrett now goes around the outside, and now so does Yuri. So Sullivan will not be happy at all. And do you know what? This takes me back to last week, where Danny Quinn was getting very upset that Jacko tagged him for a second time this season. And he said, no, it doesn't. I don't get involved in things like that. Weird. Anyway, yeah, Pete is getting some quiet messages in the chat that he sounds a bit muffled. So, I mean, to be fair, it is the Kia series, so it's a good chance that he is trying to strangle himself. As Jacko takes a 10-second time penalty, speeding into the pit lane. Behind, we've got Dan Price and Harry Collier battling away. They go to start the next lap. They won't get to lead this one, but it will be Harry versus Dan. Of course, they did... well, Dan Price came onto the hard tyres very early on after pitting under the safety car. Harry Collier gets a switchback, a lovely switchback after the rest of the video. They will go side by side through the Curva Grande, but Harry very smartly covers him off and can now move off. And of course, Harry, one of the, I think the only driver to start on the hard tyres, so he will be running long into this race to go onto another set, or on a second, sorry, a new set of the medium tyres, and then possibly a set of softs later on, as positions are changing throughout the field. That is Rageman and Scott. I think Scott's having connection issues from his caravan tonight, as OKK as well has fallen back behind Fozzie. So the two almost identical liveried cars in 17th and 18th. We'll go back to that fight with Rageman, with Risky and with Sullivan, as they are all nose to tail down the back straight, heading down towards Ascari, as Sully retakes Yuri into Ascari. Yuri gets out the throttle, and that's going to allow Robin to close back up, but the Speed Boys probably... Actually, no, that's the complete lie. I would say we'll be working together. There is almost no chance they're working together. It's Team Speed!
I was just about to suggest they need to work together, Gareth. Hopefully I'm a little bit clearer now. I did unplug my mic and plug it back in. But yeah, they need to work together with the benefit of DRS. Whoever is leading this train needs to be burning battery. And then when you get re-overtaken with the DRS, you can start saving your battery. So Sully now takes the lead of this train. Michelle backs out sensibly. Doesn't want to be overtaken. Just put your battery in 0. Harvest your battery. All these three need to start working together. Scott is round. He was having a little ding-dong battle with Jacko. Jacko was probably not very happy about being undercut by him. He's on the back of Mayak. Scott now down to 12th. Yeah. I believe everyone except Harry Collier has made their first mandatory pit stop at the moment.
Yeah, I think Harry is... Oh, that's a massive slide there for Yuri. Well done to hold on to that one, because that was heading into the wall. As I think that was Scott that was obliterated. You saw in the background of the shot of the rest of the video a car obliterating the polystyrene boards. I think that might have been Scott Hayes, otherwise known as Repay, in 12th position, now in 13th place. The battle at the front is, well, the net front, I should say, because of course we do have Dan Price, Harry Collier up in the lead of the race. Spazzer up there as well. But these guys all still fighting away. I think the net race lead is currently Ben Harrett from Quinn, from Sullivan. Sullivan just outside of DRS. but does have the team speed guys with him. Bazza, 10-second time penalty, speeding into the pit lane. We will see quite a few of those tonight, with the pit lane entry being quite quick. Still not acceptable, but being quite quick. Behind that's Jacko lining up a move on MK Bourne around the outside into the Retifilia chicane. Doesn't quite get it done this time around. Yuri equally trying to look at Risky and Michel. And these guys really need to work together, because the gap now behind Ben Harrett is up to 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, and just to say, Dan Price is your net race leader. He made a pit stop.
He did, you're quite right.
At the end of lap 3 under that safety car. He's got a 10-second advantage, but he's also got 4 lap older tyres compared to Danny, 7 lap older tyres compared to Ben Harrett, so everyone else is going to be hunting him down. But if we don't get another safety car, I feel like he's in a very strong position here. But these drivers need to sort themselves out, especially those that are close, or a bit of contact between Ben Harrett and Danny Quinn, not giving each other any room into the Ascari chicane. Ben Harrett wanted to get that move done nice and early, but it's not going to work, because at the as you exit the Parabolica, you're just going to give DRS to the car behind. But with this battling, Michel is now only 1.3 seconds behind the pair of these, and he's dragging that whole train of cars with him.
As Rageman sends it around the outside of Yuri into the Parabolica, breaks way later than Yuri does, gets the position. So he's now up into 6th place, chasing down as Quinn gets past Ben Harrett on the main straight, as Ben gives him a little bit of a helping hand into the braking zone. But they are now inviting the absolute idiots behind. Oh, that was going to be a crash, and it is a crash. As Rageman loses it, there's going to be a crash, and it is a crash. There's going to be a crash. Oh, 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 oh. And we got a VSC, and a safety car is on its way out. Right, that was worthy of, I mean, this. We all thought that was going to happen, didn't we? As soon as we saw one car going around, rather than just thinking, I'm going to point in the right direction in a minute, I'm not going to drive in front of everyone else. No, no, no. This is the Gear Series. You just recover as soon as you can, regardless of who's around you. And equally, the cars coming around the first corner that just decided just to keep ploughing on as if nothing was going to happen. But that's our second.
You think you'd have a bit more sense?
Oh, no, I do not think that at all.
When you see a stationary car in the middle of the track, especially on the exit of a very slow corner, you'd probably do your best not to run into it. But as you mentioned, this is the Gear Series. A lot of drivers picking up some damage. Jacko into the box. I believe he was the first at the scene. Probably tried to avoid it, knowing him. He's into the box for a fresh set of tyres. But it's not going to be a mandatory, but it is going to be a free pit stop on the safety car.
Yes, and it's a 10-second time penalty for speeding for Robin under the safety car. Ah, never mind. Right, so that lead that Dan Price enjoyed is now down to 0, because he's now got Danny Quinn behind him, Ben Harrett, and now Michel Goris, who will be right behind him on much fresher tyres. So, yes, it's still the net race lead, as we've got a number of cars taking a safety car stop. So what Dan did, my apologies, what Dan did earlier in the race, they can all do now. So it's a safety car stop for those guys. And you can see the likes of Jacko, Florian, Mike, Jake, Michael, Bazza and Robin have all done so. Robin, who was seemingly looking as though he was charging his way back through the field, was the cause of that absolute shit show at turn 1. And unfortunately has cost, well, wings for several drivers around him, one of them being MK Bourne, one being Florian, I believe, and several others. That it was almost like Spa 98 with cars just driving into other cars. But lap 17 of 27, so we are well into this race with just 10 laps left to go at the end of this one. And it is currently Dan Price from Danny Quinn, from Ben Harrett, from Michel Goris, from Sullivan, Lewis, Yuri Haslager, Matt Shepherd, Scott Hayes. Who knows if he's here or not at the moment? I mean, you could ask that question of most races, to be fair, when he's supposedly here or not. Harry Collier, Jess Ball, Dustin Rodko, JB Griffiths, Jack Ricketts, Florian Mayer, Mike Kelterborn, Jake Warrior, Michael O'Keke, Barry Baldwin and Robin Border, as Jacko moves ahead of Jamie, who comes in to serve a pit stop and will roll out just behind Florian, who comes down the main straight and blitzes past the Welshman.
Yeah, all non-mandatories for these drivers making these pit stops. And it won't count as a safety car stop. It's still a non-mandatory. So these drivers that are putting on that fresh rubber, if the safety car comes out after lap 21, or even if it's on lap 20, which probably will happen because this is the Kia series and we know what they're like, they will be able to make a mandatory stop for their final pit stop. Jacko opting for the medium, so he's probably going to extend it, go into a set of softs, probably praying for a late safety car to come out. Dan Price, though, on the oldest tyres of the grid, along with Scott, needs to have a think here. He will probably be boxing come the end of lap 21, because he's already made his safety car stop, and realistically, he does not want to be caught out like a few drivers did in Vegas, getting caught out with a late safety car and being unable to make your second mandatory and dropping further down the field. You've got to be careful. It is the playoff season, and every point matters from here to the Championship 5.
Absolutely so. As oh no, please don't be a mass disconnection. As Pete's out and Matt Lester's out. Is that you just dropping out, or is there is
still in? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I was going to say you've definitely dropped out, and Lesty's dropped out as well. So
Scott has, yeah. Are you still in?
I'm still in at the moment, but nope. There we go. We're dead. The mic rating host is gone, and I mean, I don't quite know what's just happened unless we've got a... I'm going to have to check Twitter, because that's seemingly like everyone's just retired. Because the game has now just taken over. So let's have a look to see what's happened in the Twitter chat.
On my screen, we've got some celebrations.
Yes, I know. That's race over, apparently. No, we are apparently going to restart.
I would say a 25% with the order we had, because we've got one mandatory left. I don't know. I wouldn't do a full restart because we're 17 laps out of 27 into the 18 laps out of 27 into this race, and ain't nobody got time for that.
I'd just like to comment. I'm just going back through the Twitter chat. Is that Leslie says, I apologise in advance if I randomly veer into someone my controller is fucking up, which is immediately what he did at the start into Jake. I mean, at least he said sorry to start with.
It's like it was inevitable. So, it's like it was going to happen.
So who knows what's happening? I think we're going to get I think we're doing a lobby restart. I will just see, because I think Mr. OKK did send me an invite, but I don't know whether is that for the same lobby.
I've got an invite from Jess.
Yes, so I think that might be for a new.
He did say 19 out of...
Oh, shut up, Natalie. Oh, go away, Daniel. Right. You can show how... This is how much I use this account. Shut up. Right. Oh, actually, I'm not choosing that prick.
Apparently the race is still going, and we're on lap 19 out of 27, and everyone's still there. So I think Jess still has the lobby open.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I think if she invites everyone and everyone gets back in, we'll be in good stead.
I'll try and rejoin, but
I'll send you an invite. I feel like it might have been just us two.
Maybe.
Left and everyone else. That's fantastic. Spectating and you get disconnected.
Yeah, and bear in mind I run almost gigabit internet, so it's got nothing to do
and
with...
I've got half a gig as well myself, so...
Right, we're going to load in, and hopefully a safety car will be taking these guys around. So
no, the race is underway.
Oh, wonderful. Well, do let us know what's happening.
Yeah, so Michelle Goyce is in the lead. Dan Price lost the lead. Where is Ben Howard? Ben Howard's down to 12th in all that. He has had an absolute mare. Let me just see if anyone's made any pit stops. No, Ben Harris just had a really poor start. He's also now picked up a 3-second time penalty. So it's Michelle from Dan. Sullivan's up to third. Yuri's in fourth. It's Harry, Matt Shepherd, Jacko in seventh. So leading fresh tyres, Jacko. Then it's Florian, Jamie, Mike, Ben Harrett. Jake has just overtaken Dustin. Michael, Bazza, Jess, Robin, who now overtakes Jess for 16th. Danny Quinn's at the back, so I feel like Danny and Ben Harrett have been involved in an incident on that restart. Fortunately, we haven't been able to see it, which is a pain in the backside. Scott is at the back as well, so he's been involved in this because he was in P16.
Jacko almost just recreated that meme from that mid 2000s race with the HRT coming across the infield, because he's just ignored turn one and somehow just managed to get back onto the circuit.
What is he, Liuzzi now?
I mean, this restart, Jack, is that's a car around in the background. Who's that? Is that Ben Harrett? It is. It's Ben Harrett that's gone around. So he goes around with Quinn. So as you say, maybe those two were involved in something during the whatever happens. So we'll who knows? Because what it has done is promoted Michel up to the front. Dan Price, who of course let's double check actually, because I was on stop. So yeah, Dan Price, who was leading the restart, has been overtaken. Jamie Numbers is past MK Bourne. MK Bourne is having to let a heap of cars go. He's barely on the throttle. He's just let 4 cars go. So he now drops back down into 11th. I honestly could not tell you what on earth is happening in this race.
Yeah, but we got our first pit stoppers for their second mandatory stop. Half of the grid deciding to take it now. Both Sully and Yuri decide to stay out. They'll probably get undercut. Soft tyres would probably be the choice for all drivers. Michelle going for mediums. To be fair, the soft tyres are not great on this game. They don't really last that long. So the mediums is probably the better option. That's what Harry decided to do. Everyone else was on the softs. They're going to be really fast. Dan Price is going to have an opportunity now to re-overtake Michelle for that net race lead. Well, keep an eye at the front, so I expect everyone else to be making the second mandatory.
Yeah, as well, it never rains, it pours, does it? As we've got penalties galore as well that have been picked up. So the race finish could potentially go all over the place, because you've got your current race leader and with the penalty. Yuri without one.
He's got 9 seconds.
Oh,
9 seconds.
Has he?
Sully.
Jesus Christ. How on earth is he a champion? Jacko in P3, Jamie Numbers P4, Michael O'Kake P5, and Michael P5 on the soft rubber that he's going to have to take a long way as well. Same thing for Jamie Griffiths and Bazza as well, as Scott picks up another time penalty. Jamie Numbers down on the back of Jacko. This one should be pretty easy. Down the inside, we'll even bring Michael with him. I don't think Michael's quite close enough, but he does do the fastest lap, so just the same as last season. Michael gets the fastest lap currently here at Monza. Goes a little bit deep into the rest of the video, but up in front, Yuri is now closed in on Sullivan, and the 2 speed boys back at the front, but of course on older tyres. Are they looking to... surely it's this lap they're going to pit, because otherwise they'll get undercut too much by the likes of Michel and Dan Price, and they'll fall way down the order. With only a few laps left to go, as Yuri, once again, it's that Lesmo one. He just gets on the throttle too early, and he's going to find himself under threat from Jamie Griffiths. I mean, you find that, he is Welsh. But now Yuri harvesting battery down into towards Ascari. And my voice is going again, so Pete can take over.
Yeah, luckily I just cleared my own throat just in case, as you start sounding older and older as the words come out. But yeah, really good save there from Yuri. But as we know, he always has a really loose rear, not just in the F1 games. He's now under threat, but will he cover that inside? Because he doesn't want to be overtaken going into the pits. I expect him to box, and he's followed him by Jamie. Michael makes a pit stop as well. Sully's in, and Jacko back out on the lead again.
He is.
And a 10-second time penalty for one of them.
Yes, 10-second time penalty for Yuri. So that will be race over for him. No race victory. As Sullivan, look at the gap that he's going to struggle with here, because Ben Harrett, he does still need to pit. Sullivan comes out. Where's that battle for the lead? There it is. Goes past now. So that's Michel and Dan Price that come out just in front of Sullivan. So he didn't lose too much time. He's actually within DRS behind Yuri, but with that penalty, he's got Jamie Griffiths behind him. And Jamie's going to want to pass him as soon as possible. We've got 4 laps of this one to get to the end before both Pete and I both vocally collapse. As Jamie Griffiths really starting to push the back end of Yuri, so if Yuri can keep hold of this back end around Lesmo again. As we do have a yellow flag out for an orange car, it's Shep that's gone around.
Shepherd. Yeah, I think he's just lost it himself on the exit of the second chicane. But here comes Jamie then. He's going to have the outside line into the Ascari chicane. Side-by-side action further up. Sully gets by Dan. Jamie's ahead of Yuri, battling all the way to the front. Expect the front 3 to make their final mandatory. Jacko's in. He's managed to lead a couple of laps. Jake's in as well. I expect Ben Harrett to do the same. It'll give the lead back to Michel. But he is going to be under threat. Oh, sorry, that's a wonderful line through the through the parabolica. Running very far wide. Probably picks up another warning. But he's going to have DRS. And he's going to have to get a move on. He's got 9 seconds worth of penalties. He's going to need to make a 9-second gap to Michel. And there's not many laps left.
Yeah, he needed to swipe him, but he's gone deep into the corner as well, and that's going to allow Michel to come back in. Michel, who is actually on the medium tyres, though, so his tyres won't be as effective at this stage. But Dan Price is the one to watch out for here. If he can close up to the back of Michel, because the battle now is really between Michel and Dan Price for the race win, because everyone else around them has time penalty. So if Dan can use these softs and get up past Michel, that is your battle for the win. And no one wants to see Michel win this race, especially after just not turning up for the regular season so that he can get into the C5 by coming through the chase. He comes into the chase with -28, so even with a win, he still stays on -8. He would look at potentially moving right up.
Oh.
Jesus Christ. As Dan Price just ignores the exit of Ascari, and so does Yuri, following his line through. But what that does do is open up the gap well outside of DRS, and now I think that might be, as we start the penultimate lap of this one, this might now be Michel Goris's to lose on his return, in quotations, to the Kia Series.
Yeah, Sully pushing that lap, managed to get him outside of that DRS. Side by side between Yuri, Jamie and Dan. Dan's going to lose 2 places into the braking zone of turn 1. Yuri up to the podiums, but with that 10-second time penalty, it's not really going to matter. So Dan, just got to sit pretty. You get yourself a podium out of this. Keep within, I'd say, 3 seconds of Jamie, and the podium is yours. It might even be second place because of Sully's 9 seconds worth of penalties. Everyone who hasn't got a penalty is really going to benefit from this. Just have a little look for the gap to the leader. Even Florian at the moment is going to overtake Sully based on those penalties. But he's got to pick up the pace a little bit. With his battling with Robin Border further behind, he's dropped a lot of time, and I think he might have a bit of damage. Not from what I can see, but he hasn't really got the pace to keep up, as Jacko now gets by Dan.
He does, as Jamie Numbers looking to get past Yuri. Once again, these two seem to be an attachment jar, and there's a penalty for Dan Price as well, so that's curtains for anyone else but Michel. He's the only one without a penalty. Robin gets another one as well, so everyone pushing. Jacko is well within a chance of fighting up for a podium here, but will need to not take a line like that, or he not only mounts the curb but also the grass. But will get a mega toe here. Doesn't really have too much battery to play with, but we're on to the last lap of this race. Sullivan has pulled away by 2.2 seconds, but it will mean absolutely nothing. Here comes an absolute send and a half from JB Numbers around the outside. Does get the move done. Jacko can't quite go with him. Yuri tries to go with him as he found himself on the wrong end of that. We'll try and go around the outside, which will become the inside into the De La Roja chicane. He does have the line and has the position back. Jamie's going to try and switch back. Doesn't quite manage to do it. But with a few short corners left to go, we've got fights all over the circuit. So we can't say it's a bad race. This is exactly what we wanted to see. It's just a shame there are so many penalties that are going to affect the outcome. As Jacko, if you want to get on the podium, it's a double overtake and you need to do it now.
I don't think Jacko's going to get it. He's got 6 seconds worth of penalties. Jamie's only got 3. Michael's only got 3. Jacko does get by Jamie with the benefit of DRS. He's going to stick behind.
Give him a bump. Bump and run is available on the last lap. We are on
about
it.
That. We got to be. If you want it, Jacko, you know the rules better than anyone, considering it's your league. Into the Parabolica. Sully decides to pick up another 3-second time penalty because he wasn't going to lose enough time. He's going to cross the line in first place, but the Dutch, the Dutch fraud is going to win this race. No penalties for him. Jamie's on the podium with Michael Okeke rounding off the podium. Dan gets back up to P4, Jacko P5, Florian, another driver without getting any penalties, up to P6. Then it's Mike, Sully down to P8 with those 12 seconds worth of penalties. Yuri's P9, Jess inside the top 10 by 39 thousandths of a second ahead of Dustin. Danny Quinn up to 12th. And it's Jake, Ben Harrett, fraudulent, he's in P14. Bazza, Matt Shepherd, Robin, I believe, Harry Collier, and then who really cares? You're at the back.
And somehow, after all that carnage, Scott is still at the back. Michael Okeke drive the day and actually wouldn't be far off my pick, getting on the podium somehow after being involved in that collision at the start. He's had broken wing twice and ends up on the podium. Jamie Numbers, another podium. And it is everyone's least favourite winner, Michel Goris, after ignoring the regular season so he could come into the chase and try and get an easy way into the C5. Unfortunately, he wins the race and will at least doesn't advance into the next round, because of course in the chase that's not quite how it works. But what it does do is it brings him right back into the party of potential chase winners, with the likes of Sullivan having such a bad evening and Ben Harrett as well having a shocker down in 14th position. But it is Michel that wins the race from 10th on the grid. Look at that grid to podium. 10, 11, 20, 13 is your top 4. Fastest lap for a second season in a row is Michael Okeke, 121.556. And I just want to check something actually, because it was actually much slower than Michael last season. It was a 120.787, but of course that was on the older game. But it's Jacko from Florian, from MK Born, Sully, Yuri and Jess are your top 10. Outside of the top 10, no one cares about, but they will get the lower points. But it is Michel that wins this one ahead of Jamie and of Michael, in a race that had everything that was basically Kia. Crashes, inept driving, desync, lobby crashes, driver crashes, and most likely, I imagine if I open the Twitter chat, a lot of crying and whinging about how the result was gone.
Yeah, and just a notable mention as well, Michael had made 6 pit stops that race. Probably most of them under that first safety car. But to start 20th and get yourself up on the podium, definitely my driver of the day. But we don't get driver of the day awards anymore in Jackocar. It was more of a popularity contest when Jacko used to do it in the Cup Series. And it just saw who had the most followers and friends would get the most votes. And yeah, I won't mention how many times I won it, but it took a very long time for me to get one driver of the day vote. But that is it for myself and Gareth for the Kia series. Where are we next week, Gareth?
We are. I say we. It's very much at the moment.
It's probably me.
It's very much up in the air. Yes, because I am due for. My wife is due to have a baby any time within the next week or two. So hopefully it will be post next week, because I quite like to do it. It's the Ked Travits Invitational Sprint. The KTIS will be happening at Zandvoort in the Netherlands next week. So it will be 2 25% races, and the results from the first race will be completely flipped. So the grid will be set from the end of the first sprint, and there will be accumulated points over the evening. So same amount of points over the evening. It's all going to depend on how many you can accumulate over the 2 races, and that will then create the overall winner. It sounds complicated. It will make sense, I promise you, once we get to it and I have it up on screen and I'll be able to show you, hopefully, if that is the case. If not, Pete will be doing it, and he'll be doing it from memory.
You have to send me whatever you've got on screen because I'm already confused as hell. All I know is it's going to be two 25% races, and the second race is going to be reverse grid. But I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out.
But yeah, it'll be fine. It's a good event. It worked really well last season. But anyway, yeah, that will be us. Thank you very much for joining us. Sorry about all of the issues with the lobby, with the sound, and also with our sound, because Pete and I, as we said, are both suffering. If you've managed to get this far, make sure you do drop a like on the video. It really does help us out. Subscribe if you're new. We know that there's been a couple of you in the chat. But yeah, have a good week, guys, and I will see you soon.
Adios.
Well, that's us done from the Jackocar ship tier. 7th and the Cup Series is clear. We packed the grid to get some better drivers to play. Needed to do something, anything to brighten up Garrett's Tuesday. We added Ben, Jamie, and Mike. The viewership certainly did spike. Yori's back, Sully, Jacko, and Harry. The chat's woken up with everyone a bit more pally. They're all here with one goal in mind. The championship fight is all they need to find. Even though we all know that Jacko Ball is the best, Tuesdays are now not the time to rest. Cause Jackocar is back on track, shipped here on the attack, fighting for wins and playoff points galore. The winner gets Kieran's mom the whore. Jackocar is the Kia Series, low IQ drivers, no one with degrees. Singing home, not touching grass, chasing after Kieran's mom's ass. Now stream is coming to an end. Time to switch it off and go talk to friends. You know those people on TV and you pay to chat. Channel 674 watching them run their ad. You dirty swines, I hope you wash your hands. I'll see you next week, back in the Jacko land. Jackocar, Jackocar.